the summer of 1867, in the rural farmland outside what is now Sedalia, whispers began spreading about a child. Not a wild child, not a troubled orphan, but something far worse. His name was Timothy Caldwell. He was 8 years old, and before the year ended, 3 people would be dead. Missouri in 1867 was still recovering from the devastation of the Civil War. Farms were broken, families shattered, entire communities were stitched together with grief and survival. Just 6 years earlier, the Battle of Wilson's Creek had torn through the region. Young men never returned. Among them was James Caldwell. By 1866, disease had taken James's widow as well. Their orphaned grandson, Timothy, was sent to live with distant relatives on a struggling farm 15 miles south of town. Thomas and Sarah Caldwell did not want a child, but they needed labor. And Timothy arrived quietly. Too quietly. At first, there was nothing unusual. He worked. He obeyed. He spoke politely. But neighbors noticed something unsettling. He never laughed. He never played. And when other children ran and shouted in the fields, Timothy watched, as if observing them, studying them. In August 1866, 5-year-old Mary Fletcher drowned in a shallow creek. It was Timothy who found her. He gave a detailed description of her body, the position of her arms, the color of the water, the branch tangled in her dress. Too detailed. The local physician, Dr. Samuel Harding, found the precision troubling. Children don't normally observe tragedy like medical examiners. But it was ruled an accident. And Timothy stood at the funeral, dry-eyed, watching. 3 weeks later, Henrik Larson fell 40 feet from Devil's Bluff. Again, Timothy was the one who discovered the body. Again, he had a ready explanation. And again, Dr. Harding felt something cold behind the boy's pale blue stare. The old man had known those bluffs for years. He had never slipped before. Then came 6-year-old Jacob Mills, missing for 4 days, found at the bottom of an abandoned well, barely alive. Timothy had helped search. He heard crying. Jacob died hours after being rescued. Later, Dr. Harding examined the well. The debris covering it was not random. It had been arranged carefully. Livestock began dying on nearby farms. Chickens found with necks snapped cleanly. Calves tangled in fences with impossible precision. Animals dissected in ways predators would never attempt. Dr. Harding began documenting everything. The common thread: Timothy, always nearby, always helpful, always calm. In October 1866, Dr. Harding followed a suspicion into the woods behind the Caldwell farm. There he found a hidden cave. Inside, animal bones, improvised surgical tools, and drawings. Hundreds of drawings. Rabbits, squirrels, birds, and then people. Mary Fletcher, Henrik Larson, Jacob Mills, each accompanied by notes, observations, timelines of suffering. Timothy wasn't witnessing tragedy. He was designing it. When confronted, Timothy did not deny anything. He explained. Mary had been held underwater for exactly 3 minutes. Henrik had been manipulated into falling. Jacob had been lowered into the well and kept alive just long enough for study. He described it all like a scientist discussing research. And then he revealed something worse. His next subjects would be his aunt and uncle. Dr. Harding alerted Sheriff William Crawford. The next morning, law enforcement surrounded the farm. Inside, Thomas and Sarah Caldwell were unconscious. Drugged with wild herbs. Timothy had already prepared ropes, knives, tools. When confronted, he did not beg. He calculated. He counted bullets in the doctor's pistol. He assessed the room. Even at 8 years old, he fought with chilling precision. He was subdued, but he smiled. "You can't prove anything," he said.
There was no legal framework in 1867 to prosecute a child like Timothy. Instead, he was transferred to the Missouri State Hospital for the Insane in Fulton. Doctors studied him. He adapted. He mimicked remorse. He manipulated staff. And 18 months later, he vanished. Officially, escape. Unofficially, no one knew. Dr. Harding spent the rest of his life tracking suspicious deaths across the Midwest. He believed Timothy had survived. He believed the boy had matured, and he feared what that meant. Because Timothy had shown something terrifying. Not madness, not trauma, but calculation, and a complete absence of empathy. Was Timothy Caldwell real? Was he the first documented case of childhood psychopathy in American history? Or was he something else entirely, a legend born from a nation still bleeding from war? Tell me what you think, and if this story unsettled you, subscribe, because America's darkest mysteries don't always stay buried.